first time that I have broadcast under this title this year and forever, actually. For those of you who are regulars to mytimetv.live will know that I've been broadcasting here on Wednesday afternoons as Community TV with Adair. And it's a similar program that I'm bringing you, although we are racing ahead and starting before we're ready, because what we want to do is, and that's the collective we, the we of the whole world, I think, because what we want to do is to raise the vibration and raise the consciousness of the world, so that, because understanding that we are grieving. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of changes that people are making. And I tell you what, it's hard to handle. And I'd just like to welcome Lorene Newman here today as my very first guest. Welcome, Lorene.
Thanks, Adair. Nice to be here with you.
It's awesome to have you here, because what you're offering, and I actually saw this in the Women in Business Adelaide community. You were prompted by the amazing Charlene Lynch to do some recording of your tapping of your EFT and share it with the world. And when I saw that, I went, we need to have this stuff put out as far and as wide as we possibly can. Now, we have had some issues with live broadcasting today. I think that because so many people and so many organizations, what they would do traditionally offline are moving online, that there's unforeseen consequences that we could not have ever anticipated. And also coupled with that, there are, Facebook have got a lot of their staff not at work. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's anywhere except home, if they're smart. So, and observing the rules to try and help slow the spread of the virus. But what I'd like to say is, on mytimetv.live, I have a vision that we can make it the one place where you can go to find hope, to find a light, to find people who are doing things that are going to be helping us as humanity, almost, to be able to raise the consciousness and to be able to live in a way that's not fear-based, because we have a choice. We can react out of fear to what's happening, or we can respond out of love. And I'm just blessed to be around so many amazing people who are choosing to respond out of love, and Lorene is one of them. Lorene, share us a little bit about tapping or EFT, if you, because I tell you what, any intro that I had planned just went way out the window, but that's cool, because we are in uncertain times, unusual times, and weird times. So we'll just roll with it. So
yeah,
go on.
I was going to say, I'll intro myself.
Thank you. So for people, well, let's start there then. Just share a little bit about your background and how you got into EFT, and then maybe a little bit about what EFT is for people who don't know. And before you do that, though, can I just encourage people, if you are here watching, welcome. Just say hi, let us know where you're from, and also please, 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 let's help make sure that everybody gets these messages, because we would much rather have love and light shared than the alternative. So, Lorene, a bit about yourself.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm at tappingintoserenity.com. So I'm a women's coach for stress release for professional and academic women and students. And so that's my main focus, although I can help people with other issues. So what I do is I normally do private sessions either in my home studio up near Blackwood or online via Zoom to anywhere in the world. And what I do is I take people normally in at least an hour through a private session we address whatever's worrying them right now. And I use the relaxation technique of emotional freedom techniques or tapping. It's a form of acupressure which you apply to yourself, guided by me. And we can do it online very easily, as we're demonstrating right now. And we're going to do a bit with Adair in a few moments. So at this really busy time with everybody worried about the virus, I just thought it's really helpful to be able to take just the edge off people's stress. And we can do this just in a sort of a live broadcast like this. And you can just join in if you want to, and we'll just see if that can help you feel a bit better. And if it does, you can rewind the tape and keep repeating it, taking your stress levels down.
I think that's great. And I think, like I said before, so much uncertainty, so much that I'm observing so much anger as well, and it's misdirected. And so if you find yourself, it's frustration, brought out of frustration, and probably a lot of fear as well, because the future is uncertain for a lot of us. But we can use techniques like this to help ourselves and to help others, because we can choose to react out of fear or respond from love. So let's go. You can guide me as you would in a session. And do I need to have my glasses off if we're doing this sort of? Or?
No, I'm going to do an amended version. Yes. No. The International Association, which I'm qualified and accredited by, which is EFT International, are recommending all of the practitioners to actually avoid the face area. If you do want to use the normal face points, if you're used to this, then please sanitize your hands and wash them. But I'll use alternative points. So this is a bit of a treat for people. You're going to see points most practitioners don't normally use, but they do also work. They're just less common.
All right. So perhaps a little bit about how the EFT actually works.
Yeah, sure. So I just I can explain that. So I just want to explain to people, while you're all responding to the coronavirus news and what's going on, that's a really natural response. Our bodies are actually designed to respond to a threat, whether that's a perceived threat about what might happen, or whether that's a threat as in a car's coming towards me, jump out the way now. And we're only supposed to be on this high alert, quick response when something's about to happen now. With threats like coronavirus, what happens is we're on high alert and we stay on high alert, and that then starts to wear us out. So then we tend to get more tired, and then we're going to get more ratty with everybody. We're all feeling on edge. So with the tapping, what it does, there's a lot of research studies now. There's meta-analyses and randomized control trials, if they mean anything to you. What it means is gold standard science studies, which show that I'm just going to demonstrate here, just tapping on certain acupoints on our body reduces the stress level and turns off the stress response. Now, I can't hear Adair right now. Are you still there, Adair?
I've just, what I did was I just was playing with the broadcast in the other window. I've got two screens. And
I'll just keep going.
I knew that if I made that bigger, we'd start talking over there and it could be a bit distracting. But sorry, you want me to do?
I'll carry on. Yes. So what we're doing is I'm just showing you, just getting 2 or 3 fingers. And when we tap on these points, they're actually the same points, some of the same points that are used in acupuncture. We don't use all the ones. We just use the selection. And that sends a message to our brain to dial down the stress response. Now, research came out last week saying if you do the tapping for an hour, it drops your stress hormone cortisol by over 40%, and it actually increases antibodies circulating in your blood. So even if you don't feel a major change, your physiology is actually responding, and it's good for you. It's de-stressing you, and it'll just give you a break. So why don't we get started? I'm just thinking that I've seen some posts on the Women in Business Adelaide that people are starting to worry about the finances of their business if they're in a small business. So what I'll get you to do, it's a sort of a demo, and Adair, you're going to just be my echo on this, just to guide people. Everybody can join in with Adair. And if you get a result, you feel a bit calmer at the end, that's great. As I said, it's only going to be a sort of a short demonstration. So if you want to repeat and rewind, you can do that. And I've also just loaded 6 videos to YouTube, which you can just tap along with yourself. They're only 10 minutes, but again, rewind and repeat. And we just want to tune in. So I'm just going to use this as a worry. So we'll work on I'm overwhelmed with financial concerns, or I'm really worried about my business. You can choose which one of those is best for you as a listener. And then if you can just close your eyes and tune into that. So Adair, you can either just pick one. Perhaps you can just pick I'm really worried about my business. And then I want people to close their eyes and just feel roughly, when I think about really worried about my business or really stressing about the business finances, do I feel that tension in my neck, in my shoulders? Is my stomach turning? Have I got a headache with so much going on? Just see if your body's showing that. It may or may not be. So do you feel anything, Adair?
If I tune into it, I can feel it in the pit of my stomach. Or it's actually not. It's more in the solar plexus region.
Okay, so that's just a bit of a gauge, because if the tapping has an effect for you, you'll be able to feel that hopefully lessening. And it's, again, this is nothing about people not coping. A lot of women feel that they aren't coping. It's their fault. This is a natural physiological response to a threat, to feel tense and stressed. We don't know any other way to calm down. And tapping's great if you find mindfulness very difficult. If your mind's whizzing, it's hard to focus. So the tapping kind of physically interrupts it. So what we're going to do then is also, Adair, can I get you to just sort of just give a rough guess of, if 1 was I'm not really fussed at all, and 9 or 10 I'm really worried, where might you be on that scale? And the audience can do the same thing. Roughly, where might I be on my worry or stress level right now?
Tapping into it, it would be between maybe 2 and a 3, because I'm actually feeling like okay, and I know that everything's going to be all right, but I have done an inordinate amount of work to get to that space. So but I do understand how so probably
I'm just maybe sorry. I can't see Adair, just to let people know, I can't see Adair's. I've got a picture of a mountain instead because of the techie problems, but but I'm just thinking some people might actually be right up as sort of even a 10+. I'm overwhelmed with the financial issues about my business right now, or I'm seriously frustrated or worried. So as we're working, we'll use the word really stressed, or we'll use worried. If you want to use overwhelmed or frustrated, that's up to you. As I say, in a private session, we'd specify this right to you, your feelings and your issues, but we're trying to just do a general thing. Okay, so we're going to start tapping here, okay? So everybody just get 2 or 3 fingers of one hand and start tapping on the halfway down the fleshy part of your other hand. And we're just going to we don't really need to focus on the issues, but this is what we do. We go, even though I'm feeling so overwhelmed. And Adair, if you can repeat that with the audience. So even though I'm feeling so overwhelmed.
So even though I'm feeling so overwhelmed.
I accept this is how I feel.
I accept this is how I feel.
Even though I'm so overwhelmed about my business right now.
Even though I'm so overwhelmed about my business right now.
I accept this is how I feel.
I accept this is how I feel.
Even though I'm feeling so overwhelmed right now about the financial situation.
Even though I'm feeling so overwhelmed right now about the financial situation.
I choose to accept this is how I feel.
I choose to accept this is how I feel.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
So now we're going to do an amended version on different points. So this will be different for you, Adair. We're going to now just repeat the reminder phrase. So So as we're saying what the problem is, we're tapping to diffuse the stress that's associated with it. So we're just going to go right on the middle of the top of our head, and we're just going to tap there, and we're just going to go this overwhelm or this frustration. We're going to take a breath. And because of coronavirus, we can do the same. Yes, this overwhelm, and the audience all say the same thing. So we're all tapping on the top of our head, and we're all going this overwhelm or this worry, whichever you want to say.
So this probably frustration for me as much as anything. So this frustration.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to, normally we'd have points on the face. We're going to avoid the face because of hygiene with coronavirus, and we're going to go to the collarbone. So sort of where the knobbly bits are, and you can just tap with one hand or two hands. And we're going to say the same thing. All this overwhelm or all this frustration.
All this frustration.
Okay, taking a breath. And then we're going to go under the armpit, sort of for ladies on the bra line. So we go all this overwhelm or all this frustration, whichever you're saying.
All this frustration.
And now we're going to do, I'll just tip my screen down. There's 2 points just at the base of our ribs. Sort of, if I can say it, you'll have to beat me out if I can't say the word nipple line. So directly under the nipples. Here we're going all this overwhelm or all this frustration.
All this overwhelm or all this frustration for me, or all this worry for you if you're worried.
And then we're going to go to wrist point. So we're just going to sort of where you would just rub your wrists together, this point on the wrist here. Just going to tap those together. This overwhelm.
This frustration.
Yep. And then we're back to the side of the hand. This frustration.
This frustration.
So take a breath. And just, now people can just tune back in. Normally we just tune back in and see, well, that number that I had in yours was not high originally, Adair, but some people might have been up at 8, 9, 10, even 10 plus. Just take a breath. Does it have a sense that that number's come down a bit or changed in any way? Could go up. That's okay. And if I tune back into my body, is my body feeling any different? So what was happening in the pit of your stomach, Adair?
It's gone completely.
Excellent.
It really has. That's amazing. Well, it's not amazing because I know this stuff works, but it actually has. So what is like it's just dissipated.
Okay, so look, if other people will do some more rounds, because other people who are up at a much higher number might have come down quickly. Sometimes the number will stay really high because you're so stressed, and then you start thinking of all the other things that are piling up, and it's hard to get through. If you start to yawn or cry or get teary, that's okay. It's you expressing pent-up emotion, and that's what we want to do. You don't have to cry or yawn or anything, but if you're releasing pent-up emotion, that's a good thing. And acknowledging how we feel when we stuff the feelings down. So we'll go again. So we're going to go, even though, and Adele, you can just pretend for the sake of the audience.
Oh, no, I can't. You can never have enough tapping.
Even though I'm still feeling frustrated or worried about this coronavirus, what it's doing to my business. So you can repeat that, Adele.
So even though I'm still feeling frustrated about this coronavirus and what it's doing to my business.
This isn't what I expected.
It's not what I expected.
It's such a disruption.
It's such a disruption.
Maybe I should just give up.
Maybe I should just give up.
It feels like all my hard work's going down the gurgler.
It feels like all my hard work is going down the gurgler.
And I'm so worried about the money situation.
And I'm so worried about the money situation.
And it's safe to say how I feel.
It's safe to say how I feel.
It's better than stuffing it down.
It's better than stuffing it down.
If I can let this go a little.
If I can let this go a little.
Then my thinking brain can click in.
Then my thinking brain can click in.
and maybe come up with some surprising solutions.
And maybe come up with some surprising solutions.
And I accept this is the way it is right now.
And I accept this is the way it is right now.
Okay, so here we go again, just doing these points top of the head for everybody. All this frustration.
All this frustration.
Going to the collarbone, all this frustration.
All this frustration.
Let's breathe. And under the arm, all this frustration. So we're on the side of the body.
All this frustration.
We're going to the rib points, just where your ribs kind of peter off as if on the edge of the sort of the cliff, really. All this frustration.
All this frustration.
And back to the wrists, all this frustration.
All this frustration.
We'll keep going because I don't know what numbers people are getting, but we're just going to do a few more rounds. Okay, so even though I have all this overwhelm.
Even though I have all this overwhelm.
I'm feeling so worried.
I'm feeling so worried.
Everybody's worried right now.
Everybody's worried right now.
And that's just adding to my worry.
And that's just adding to my worry.
And I'm so worried about my business.
And I'm so worried about my business.
I'm worried about losing clients.
I'm worried about losing clients.
Maybe I'm worried about having to do things differently.
Maybe I'm worried about having to do things differently.
Maybe it even feels like a massive disaster.
So maybe even feels like a massive disaster.
And it's safe to say how I feel and let this go.
It's safe to say how I feel and let this go.
I feel as if I relax.
I feel as if I'm relaxed. Oh, as if I relax or if I am?
If I relax, then nothing's going to get done.
Then nothing's going to get done.
I'm worried if I relax.
I'm worried if I relax.
Then I won't be able to find any answers.
Then I won't be able to find any answers.
I'm so used to responding with stress.
I'm so used to responding with stress.
It feels as if I have to stress myself into action.
It feels like I have to stress myself into action.
But this isn't working for me.
But this isn't working for me.
It's just wearing me out.
It's just wearing me out.
And I'm not my best self for me or anybody.
And I'm not my best self for me or anybody.
So I wonder if there's a different way.
So I wonder if there's a different way.
Maybe if I can give my body and mind permission.
Maybe if I could give my body and mind permission.
To relax a little and release a little.
To relax a little and release a little.
Then I'll come up with a new solution.
Then I'll come up with a new solution.
I don't need all of the answers right now.
I don't need all the answers right now.
But I give myself permission to relax into a new solution.
But I give myself permission to relax into a new solution.
I'm open to being surprised.
I'm open to being surprised
At how much help comes my way.
at how much help comes my way.
Hey, why not even be open to miracles?
Hey, why not even be open to miracles?
So I'm choosing to be pleasantly surprised.
So I am choosing to be pleasantly surprised.
That as I release more and more of my stress.
As I release more and more of my stress.
Using this tapping.
Using this tapping.
Maybe surprising solutions are going to pop up.
Maybe surprising solutions are going to pop up.
So I'm open to new opportunities.
who are open to new opportunities.
I'm choosing to be open to new directions.
I'm choosing to be open to new directions.
I'm releasing and eliminating any barriers.
I'm releasing and eliminating any barriers
To my finances sorting themselves out.
To my finances sorting themselves out.
Without me having to stress about them.
Without me having to stress about them.
Because my logical brain knows.
Because my logical brain knows.
That stress and worry don't help at all.
That stress and worry don't help at all.
And even though I have this automatic emotional response.
And even though I have this automatic emotional response.
To the perceived threat from this virus.
To the perceived threat from this virus.
And what it means for my business.
And what it means for my business.
I'm open to being pleasantly surprised.
I'm open to being pleasantly surprised.
That things will turn out so much better than I expected.
And things will turn out so much better than I expected.
So that's quite a lot of tapping there. Everybody takes a couple of breaths. If you have any water or cup of tea or anything with you, just take a sip, because that actually helps to keep the stress moving out of your body and mind. If you don't, go have a big drink of water afterwards. And just, again, how are you feeling after that?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm all tingly and it's like
okay, so if you feel tingly means that your energy is starting to move. Some of that stuck stress is starting to move and dissipate. As I said, people might feel a bit teary. You might feel lighter and calm is quite common. If you're still up at quite a high number, I'd recommend rewinding this and tapping through with us again. You can do it several times. You can do it more than once or twice a day. Do it in the morning, do it in the evening, whenever you can. Just tap. That's the message. Just tap. You can even just sit there doing your work and tapping with one hand, your non-dominant hand, while you're working with the other hand. Just keep tapping to keep your stress under control. And Adele, I did mention, I don't know if people have gotten this far through. Some of them might have dropped out with the live.
I just shout out to Glenn. Wanted to say hi to Glenn.
Hi, Glenn.
Thanks for joining us, Glenn, and also to Emily. Thank you for joining us again, Emily. I saw you on Mary's live earlier today, so thank you for joining us. And anyone else who is here, so please make sure that, your friends and family see this, because even if you're not in business, it is a great way to release the stress and to help yourself feel better. So
yeah. And if people want more information, they can hop over to my tappingintoserenity.com website. There's information there about tapping. There's links on the EFT tapping page to all of the research studies that have been done. There's other information about what I do. And as I said earlier, on YouTube, I've just set up a channel. There's about 6 videos going to be up there by tonight. Tapping for study and work stress and helping you feel better in these testing times. So they're all free to air videos for you.
So I'll put the link to your, I won't put a link to your YouTube channel, but I'll put the link to your business page, your Facebook page above when I edit it, only because Facebook doesn't like YouTube. And if you put a YouTube link out there, it won't show anybody. So Cyan, I hope I've pronounced your name properly. Cyan. Lovely. Thank you for joining us. And the other thing I wanted to mention was, if you're in a really bad place, and there are, like I said, a lot of people who are living in fear, worry, anxiety, because we don't know what's happening. We don't know what the future's going to hold. And when you're that far into it, even doing something like the tapping can seem like a huge, huge effort. So if you do you have any words of wisdom that can, just for people who are, I know that's going to help, but man.
I think what's easiest thing to do is to actually get on something live. If you have to think about the words yourself or tune in yourself, you can do that. Just go on something, as I say, live and tap along. You don't have to think about it. If your numbers can go up when other thoughts come. So if the numbers get higher, don't think that's not working. What that is that's actually opening up more opportunities for healing. You might have just suddenly thought about someone who's sick. And so that's going to send your stress level up and your number will go up. Just keep tapping. You can just tap what we call tapping for overwhelm. You don't have to say anything. So when you start to think I'm feeling tense, even when you're maybe going to do something, you just got in the car for some reason, you're coming from work, or if you've got a family, things are happening, just go to the loo and take 2 minutes just to tap any points you can remember and just tap. And breathe. Breathing is obviously we're not going to do well without breathing, but just taking, everyone says take deep breaths, but you can tap and breathe. It's a really good way just to calm your system. And you don't have to think, stop being stressed, because that's your logical brain trying to override. 95% of what you do is driven by your emotions.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that advice and just showing us that very, very easy tapping. Do you call it a routine? Or
it's called your tapping routine. Yeah, you can do short routines. As I say, in private sessions we go for 60, 90, 120 minutes and actually really hone into people's own issues and go where that's going for them. But this kind of general tapping audio and scripts, there's no magic to the words. Just say whatever words you're feeling. That's the main thing, and just get it out of you. If you stuff it down, it's just going to go round and round and confuse you, and you won't be able to think straight or see your way through anything. So
so I think that's really, really fantastic. So thank you, Lorraine. Thank you so much for joining us. And even though we had tech issues to start with, we persevered and we got there. And I know that there's there has been some issues with technology. But that's the times that we live in, and we just roll with it because that's all we can do. And I always say there's no point getting bent out of shape about that sort of stuff because it's way beyond our control. So thank you once again. Really appreciate you, and thank you. And feel free to sort of reach out again if you feel inspired to pop in and do some more, because I would love for mytimetv.live to be the place where people think of that they can go to get some love, get some light, get some healing, feel like that there's some support and a safe space where there's practical things that people can do to really feel like that there's some, that there is hope. And because anywhere else you go, it just seems to be all doom and gloom. So we can create our own little echo chamber of hope and choose to live under the circumstances in the best way possible. So thank you again. Really appreciate that.
If people do want to stay in touch and get more information from me about this, then I've got Facebook page, Tapping into Serenity, Women's Work Stress Release, and Instagram, and I'm on Twitter at Lorraine Newman. So I'll keep posting this if people want to get access to more resources.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll put the link. We'll put your Twitter handle and everything. If you just flick them through to me, and I'll pop them in I'll edit the post and put that above. So, and if you are watching this on a page that's not mytimetv.live, then it doesn't matter, because we cross-post across the different places, and it's not going to make any difference to the effect that you'll feel. So we'll share the love out to as many places as we can.
Excellent. Go well, everybody.
Thank you. So,
see ya.